this is Lefty and Chipa.
Hola.
So we had a good Friday night of fights with O'Shaquie Foster and Abraham Nova. Man, I almost forgot that name. So
what's his face is fine.
Then we had Cortez against Chevalier. And then there was Shushu against the 5'4" Filipino guy that doesn't mean anything now. So
wait a minute. Let me take the time to insert joke, okay? Can I just say that what's his face? Doggone it. Here I go again with the names. Ortiz need to get with Shushu's camp and start training there. Because, I'm just saying, one thing that Shushu knew how to do was cut off the damn ring. Sorry, I guess I should have said that. But he knew how to cut off the ring, bro. He said, he got out there and he said, my training camp prepared me for everything. Which means, I'm not saying, but I am saying, Ortiz, your training camp did you wrong, bro. But go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, so Shushu was a minus 2,000 favorite, which means if you are going to bet on him, he's got to be part of like a 3 or 4 leg parlay. I texted Chipa before right after we got off the stream. I was like, man, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but I don't like the odds of a smaller 5'4" guy being able to make it all 10 rounds or whatever. And I was like, man, I'm really feeling this knockout. If he keeps improving like he has been, that's Shushu, that is, then, we're getting pretty good odds on a knockout. And sure enough, Shushu knocks him out, and we did not capitalize on that knockout. I just picked him straight up on the unofficial official account. And so, altogether, we are at about 80%. We're in a positive 80%. So, yeah, there's nothing really much else to say. Shushu did what he was supposed to do. I believe we called a knockout on the podcast. Like he shouldn't be letting guys like this go rounds with him.
Right.
And that's what happened. And he got the expected outcome or the hopeful outcome, but still managed to impress in the process by how he did it and what actually happened. Because that dude, he knocked the dude out, and the dude probably woke up and asked, when is the fight going to start?
Yeah, he was down, and they couldn't count him out. Like, he was just out. He didn't even try to move. There was no, can he beat the count? Nah, he went night-night. He went night-night.
Man, like.
He drank his tart cherry juice. He had his magnesium shot. Homeboy went to sleep.
I felt like giving him my CPAP. So that was that. The co-main, that was just 2 different classes of fighter. You had at one point the best amateur boxer in the country going against obviously limited competition. And up to that point, we were 3-0 against Puerto Rican boxers, and I think this is just a running joke now. So
it is. It seems to be,
So
I think that the commentary about the Puerto Rican kid, I can't say his name, so I'm not trying to mess him up. Yeah. So the commentary about him was basically, I believe they said it was a bad weight drop or weight cut or weigh in, or that they're blaming that he was fatigued because of his weight.
Yeah, nah, that was just that was going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
And I think that they were
Well,
trying to save face.
it's not like he was showing skill.
No, he wasn't. And if you look at the tape, well, I mean, obviously we looked at the tape. He showed the same thing he always shows, and I think they were trying to cover up for the matchmaker because you got a co-main event on a pretty significant main event, and the co-main goes out like that. Like, you got to blame something because now, you talk about the weight cut, you got to fill in time because, these fights only happen once every 40 minutes. So if someone gets knocked out in the second or third round, they got 25 minutes to fill, and that happened twice in a row.
Yeah.
So, and let's face it, it's not like the old days. We don't have swing bouts anymore.
That's right.
Swing bouts used to function as like a couple dudes in the back waiting for an early knockout somewhere on the televised card, so that way they can, get to their fight and then keep things moving. That's one thing that boxing has to figure out is where to implement these swing bouts, because the reason why UFC is so popular is their branding is on point. It's faster paced, like the fights are 3 rounds. So even if a first round knockout does happen, you only have to fill in 10 minutes as opposed to boxing where you got to fill in 30 to 40.
Yeah.
And so the co-main event, we need, like, I could provide technical analysis, but at the same time, when you're facing a guy like that and you're as accomplished as Cortez is, there's not really much to say. Like, we need to see him with better competition in the future, and hopefully he does that. What are your thoughts on the main event?
Okay, so the main event, it was okay. It didn't play like a main event, honestly. I mean, of course, it went to 12 rounds. It didn't play like a main event. So Nova was doing good for a little while. I do believe that he got sucked into a game that, people can say that Nova got gassed. I would just say that Foster basically strategically had his number. So he would disengage and draw Nova in, and the way Nova would throw his punches left his chin wide open. I would say this though, Foster had his number, but Foster didn't optimize on it. He didn't dial it in, because ultimately at the end of the day, yeah, he drew him in and was able to, get some decent shots off, but his timing was still a little bit off, because when Nova was left open, he could have really just knocked him out. 28-second knockdown in the 12th round. That one was a good shot, obviously, but it was the 12th round. Had he done that earlier, now I will say Nova seems to have a chin, because he did take some pretty key shots. There was another, like a second knockdown in the 12th that seemed like they wanted to call that a knockdown. I don't know if they scored it that way, but I don't know. It seemed more like a push to me. I hate when they do that. I hate when they score them that way. Foster threw 226 power punches. His landing percentage was 39. Nova threw 337. It's funny to me for you to miss so much. I'm just, I can't imagine going out there and hitting the air. But his landing percentage was a whopping 22%. So I think that covers the stats, so to speak. What about you?
I think we called that. I mean, I don't know if you could be any more right than what we were last week. we said he was gonna gas.
look, we should have came out here like Trinidad. Yo gané, okay? Yo gané.
Yeah.
I won.
We knew he was gonna gas. We knew that. I mean, the key is Nova needed to win more early rounds, And I believe we said it last week that he has to fight in a way that's uncomfortable for him, which means he's got to pressure Foster more than what he was.
Definitely.
And that's a double-edged sword, because if you pressure, either like you could do one or two things, right? You can conserve energy, but then you're going to lose the early rounds.
Right.
Which is kind of what happened. He didn't win enough early rounds,
Right.
knowing he was going to gas later. Or you could pressure Foster and fight in a way that you don't normally fight, because he likes to invite shots coming in so he could counter off of the other guy. That's why he's got his hands down. But when you do that, you're trying to outbox a boxer, a better boxer.
Yeah.
So in camp, you got to like think, and this is where the egos come into play. Like, admit Foster's the better boxer. That's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? I have to pressure him. But if I pressure him, I'm going to gas earlier.
Right.
But then I win the early rounds. Now, what should have happened was Nova takes 3 of the first 4 rounds. He tries to outbox Foster in the middle rounds, and then toward the end, he comes on again. Didn't it happen exactly opposite of that? The first 4 rounds went to freaking Foster, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, like at least 3 of the 4. 3 of the 4 rounds went to Foster. I know. Yeah, me and Joseph were talking about it. Joseph's my son, for those who don't know, but me and Joseph were talking about it because we were debating how we were personally scoring it. And yeah, it seemed like, I think Joseph may have had Foster getting all 4 of them, but yeah, you're right. At least 3 of the 4 rounds went to Foster. Yeah, so right there, now you have to win the late rounds, and then Foster's pushing you back at the end, and that was that. Nova had never gone 12, so you got to figure you're going to gas, and you should be winning every round you can early, especially especially when you got assholes like John McKay scoring fights, giving you extra rounds that you shouldn't have. Right. If Nova wins 2 more rounds, he wins the fight. Yep. Because Mark Constantino had a 115, 112. I think it was a split decision. So it's not like it was by unanimous decision. It was a split decision. It could have went one judge could have swayed that. If he wins one additional round, if he wins one additional round without the knockdown, the fight's a draw. Yeah. Which that fight was not a draw type. Nowhere near. No. It was not an Ortiz Lopez fight. It was not. It wasn't that. So that's going to be the joke until we find another boxing match to pick on. Right. Unfortunately, Lopez and Ortiz are going to be our dum-dums. Like, I had a 117, 110, 115, 112 was way too close for me. And John McKay, I mean, how did these guys get jobs? They called it before they announced his decision, right? Right. So anyway, neither here nor there. If you want to see how the fight went, watch our video from last week. We told you so. And if you would have listened, your bank account or your betting account would show it. That's even better, right? Bet. You would be an bet right now if you actually listen to what we're doing. It may be on the conservative side, but the plus side is still better than nothing. So yeah, we're at plus 80% on our not official account, and it is what it is. So we're gonna cut it here and catch us next time. We're doing wait. What's to come? There's not another thing for like 3 weeks. I mean, it's pretty dry. We're gonna be hitting that March event pretty good. we might pop in for like you know, I'm thinking about doing that Berlanga fight this weekend, but I got to think about it because Berlanga is like a 5-1 favorite. I mean, really, he should win, but you know, there's a lot of cards like that coming up to where I don't even know if it's worth their time, but we'll see. For sure, there's going to be events in March. We might pop in for a quick video here or there in the meantime. But until then, peace.
Peace out.